Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a la sección de cine de Caras y Caretas en línea. Los saluda Algorosito. Acaba de llegar a las pantallas uruguayas La maldición de la Casa Winchester, un film inspirado en la vida y casi que se puede decir obra de la viuda de uno de los hijos de los creadores de la famosa fábrica de armas, la cual, después de heredar lo que al día de hoy serían más de 500 millones de dólares, dedicó casi 40 años de su vida a remodelar esta mansión en forma casi ininterrumpida, por motivos que no les cuento por acá porque pueden calificar de spoiler, y si el título no te es pista suficiente, al menos les aclaro que si les gustan las películas de fantasmas y casas embrujadas, esto les será una buena elección. Y con motivo de este estreno, compartimos con ustedes las entrevistas con 3 de sus protagonistas, entre los que está la mismísima Helen Mirren, y 2 de sus directores, que a la vez también metieron mano en el guión, y por las dudas no es casualidad que sean tan parecidos, ya que son hermanos gemelos, por lo que no es que estés viendo doble ni usemos efectos especiales. Así que, luces, cámara, acción.
Well, you know, there are lots. There's a lot of mythology around Sarah Winchester. You can understand it in her lifetime. There was a legend, a mythology that grew around her, grew around the creation of this house. You know, this house was built at a time where there was nothing around here. Now it's in the middle of San Jose's main street, you know, shopping area. But at that time it was just empty farmland around, and in the middle of this starts appearing this extraordinary construction, bit by bit by bit, being built by this widow who always wears black, who no one in the town, you know, local towns ever see. You know, she's private, she's always in her house. So you can understand a mythology starts building up about her, even in her own lifetime. And as the house became more extraordinary and more complicated and bigger, you know, that mythology now has lasted over the years.
Sarah Winchester is a pretty interesting woman. I just heard today that there's no birth certificate recorded for her, which is very interesting, particularly when you're doing a story about ghosts. Did she ever really exist? But she did. There's one photograph of her. Sarah Winchester, she built this amazing house called the Winchester House, now the Winchester Mystery House, over in San Jose, California. And it's full of these strange architectural oddities. And she was the heir to the Winchester rifle fortune, which was the gun that won the West, so a substantial wealth behind her in her family.
Sarah Winchester always felt like a woman out of time. I mean, she was sort of she married William Wirt Winchester, who was part of the Winchester family and the Winchester Rifle Company. She lost William and her only child, Annie, and she sort of spent a big chunk of her life in mourning. And during her mourning period, she went to see a spiritualist, a medium, who told her that she was being haunted by all the people that were killed at the hand of the Winchester rifle. So she, upon the medium's instruction, moved from New Haven, Connecticut to San Jose, California, where she purchased what was then, I think, like a 8-room farmhouse. And she spent the majority of her wealth, her inheritance from the Winchester rifle fortune, to build this mansion, this sprawling mansion in San Jose, California. And she sort of built this house to kind of communicate with the spirits that died at the hand of the rifle.
You know, it's a work of art as much as anything, and it has the lack of rules of a work of art. It's not a rule-bound architectural thing. There are no rules in this house. It's like it's an artist at work, you know. But it is full of mystery. It's absolutely full of mystery.
Helen put that across very well, that, you know, you can see this is such a personal place. Everything is designed by her, to her specifications. It's very idiosyncratic. It's, you know, it's nothing's by chance, or nothing's just slapdash. It's very, very particular. It's a very, you know, fantastical, as I've said, an Alice in Wonderland type, you know, place that she's made.
The tricky thing about the house is it's beautiful, it's a popular tourist attraction, but we're placing our film in 1906, and 1906 San Jose looks very different to 2017, 2018 San Jose. It's a bustling modern city now. So we shot as much as we could at the actual house, but we recreated as accurately as possible many of the rooms. We built the front facade of the house out on a farm property in Melbourne, Victoria, and we shot on location in Melbourne while actually building as many of the rooms as we could. Also, I mean, you shoot at the actual house. There's modern amenities at the actual house, like sprinkler systems and all these things that you have to kind of remove later in post-production. But if you watch the film, and you see the rooms, you can go to the actual house and see those rooms for real.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's you know, it validates, you know, the work that we did on the set. You know, the construction team and all that they built, the art direction. They built amazing sets that are the same. You know, because it's very different to walk, you know, to drive into the real thing and get out. But there's different sheds. Like in the film, you know, I drive up in a horse and cart and a buggy and get out, and there's nothing out there if you come over palm trees. And here there's a freeway and a road, but it's you know, it's always a great reminder to know that it's a real place, and that you've got to give it, you know, certain respect and dignity when you do recreate something that actually exists.
Yes, I hadn't been here before yesterday. When we shot the film in Melbourne. Some of it, obviously, we've shot some of it here in the actual house, but more the exteriors. But the body of the drama we shot in Melbourne in studios, where they beautifully reconstructed many of these rooms and staircases and corridors. So it was very familiar to me in that sense, coming into the house. But I was blown away by the detail, the incredible detail. I wanted to, you know, you could spend hours in each room, because as small as, and that's the other amazing thing, is the scale. It's so small. It's like a kid's house, like a little doll's house. Very feminine, but with this incredible, intricate design everywhere you look. There's another detail, and beautiful. You know, just to look at a piece of wallpaper or a fireplace. You know, each fireplace is extraordinary.
I think Helen Mirren in the role of Sarah Winchester is just a no-brainer in the end. I think, you know, a woman who can command such respect, but with such generosity and strength. And I think someone to give a lot of depth to Sarah Winchester, who is a character that a lot has been written about, but no one really knows the truth necessarily. Yeah.
The interesting thing about Helen Mirren is Helen has never done a haunted house or a horror movie before. So when we initially thought, gee, it'd be great to get a Helen Mirren type in this film, you know, to actually go out to her and she said yes was a wonderful moment. And I think the reason she was interested in the project was, I think she likes haunted house scary movies, but I think she was really fascinated by the woman Sarah Winchester. She was fascinated that she had such an inventive mind and was such a progressive thinker, and I think Helen could really relate to her. And I think that's what she was attracted to more than anything, was Sarah Winchester, the woman.
She brings a lot of warmth, you know, a lot of kindness. She makes an enigma real, but still keeps it an enigma. You know, there's still a sense of mystery with Helen, because she's just got that, you know, that charismatic weight about herself as a person. And then to work with her, she's, she just keeps you laughing. She's funny and sharp and witty and intelligent and strong, but really, simple and basic, and keeps it easy. There's nothing pretentious about Helen or pretend about it. She's a lot of fun.
Well, in this sense, our costume and our set was absolutely designed for us. We were just repeating, and there is research material. There are photographs of Sarah. Obviously, we've got the house. And we just reproduced the house as accurately as possible. The extraordinary switchback staircase, and many other elements we reproduced. And we knew what Sarah wore. The costumes I wore were not exact reproductions because we don't know the exact decoration or anything, but they were as near as possible. Never fun to wear a corset all day long, but there you go. I've done that many times in my life.
It's, I think in a way it's harmless, a good one. It's there's something about being scared or being on the edge of your seat that's just, it takes you out of your day, I guess, like a roller coaster ride. It's entertainment,
The hardest thing about doing a film like this is how do you make it scary? I mean, we've got a lot of scary movies that have been out there and been successful. And our goal was to kind of keep it grounded in a reality, to know that this is a real story about a real place and a real person makes it really terrifying. I think that also Michael and I like to do this kind of misdirect with scares as well. So you think it's going somewhere, it's coming from somewhere, you think it's going to happen on this beat or this moment, and then it happens later, or it happens earlier, or it goes in some other direction. I think that's a really interesting way of making it scary. I also think, you have to care about the people. There's a big portion of when an audience cares about the actors that are going through the scary stuff, it just makes it more terrifying because you want them to survive or you want them to get out of a certain situation.
Antes de irnos, les recordamos que van a poder encontrar la nueva edición de Caras y Caretas en todos los kioscos de Uruguay, o si no, suscribiéndose a través de www.carasycaretas.com.uy, pudiendo disfrutar de la misma desde cualquier lugar del mundo para estar enterados de toda la actualidad nacional y mundial. Así llegamos al final, por lo que de nuestra parte nos despedimos hasta la próxima edición, no sin antes desearles que la pasen de película. Muchísimas gracias por haber llegado hasta el final de este video. Por acá tendrán acceso a las últimas críticas y un poquito más abajo las versiones completas de nuestro programa semanal sobre el mundo del cine. Si así lo desean, podrán suscribirse, darnos un me gusta, acceder a nuestras redes sociales o dejarnos un comentario para seguir pasándola de película.